Alaikum back. Assalamu alaikum guys. Welcome back to the channel. Guys, in last video we went over to and we discussed the bootstrap file forms and we also discussed how to add the select menu in your forms. So today our agenda is related to today inshallah we will cover up that bootstrap file checkboxes and radio buttons and we will also discuss about the bootstrap file form validation as well. So let's start. All things are very simple. Okay, you just need to understand and you just have to keep the concept. Okay, what is the concept? You just have to follow that one. Everything will be okay then. Okay, so what I did, I just defined these are the standard declaration, and be remember whenever you are using the bootstrap file you must add the cdn, this one. This CDN is very important. Without this CDN, bootstrap styles, bootstrap colors, images, all type of things will never occur. So here in this one, you need to add this bootstrap 5. Okay, bootstrap 5 CDN, content delivery network, you must add in your code. Okay, and be remember your device must be connected with the internet in order to apply the colors or apply the images or whatsoever. So this is the Bootstrap 5 simple CDN. So I'm not just explaining this, I'm just moving to direct checkboxes. What I did, I just defined a container. Okay, then I defined a heading with the checkboxes. What I did, then I provided a href link as well. So what I did, I defined the class with the form check. These classes I will explain later what is the purpose of the form check. So what I did, I just defined the form check. Form check actually class is actually what the form check actually do. It actually style the check boxes. Okay, it uses a wrapper element. Okay, to ensure that proper margins. Okay, proper margins will come. Okay, and also add the labels for the check boxes as well. So what I did, input type is equals to checkbox. I considered as a checkbox. Okay, class is equals to form check input. I assigned the ID as well. Name equals to this one. Value equals to something, and I said checked. Okay, same like I have created for the second input field, that is a form check. Okay, this one, and I second time I select name as option two. Okay, here you give any name. Okay, let's say you are making a check boxes of, let's say, shopping. So here you give grocery, here you give, let's say, stationery, whatsoever. Okay, then I what I did, label this one. Okay, then third one class I created and I just mark as disabled. Disabled means that nobody can select this checkbox, this option, I mean to say. So this option I have created, and in last I have created a submit button, and I said that a button must have a blue color, and I assign a value to as well. So I'm just moving to the browser and let's see what will happen. So where is my browser here? So I have browser it. This is my options. Okay, as you see here is my check boxes. I select the option one, option two, but I do not select the option three because option three is disabled. So if I want to enable this one, what I need to do, I just remove this disabled keyword. I'm just removing here the disabled keyword. Now you can select any of these three options. Either you select one, two, or three. It's your own choice. So as you see now, option three is also working. As you see, this is how you created the checkboxes in Bootstrap 5, and this is the submit button. And actually, it shows that no requested URL found because I did not give a proper link. Okay, the link which I provided is invalid. It is not present. That's why. So let's move back. I discussed before that the class form check actually ensures you the proper margin for the labels and the checkboxes. This class which I used here, I am again explaining this form check. Okay, this class, what the purpose of this class? It actually ensures the proper margin for the labels. Labels mean these fields like this one. It ensures the proper margin for that one. Okay, and checkboxes. It also sets the checkboxes margin as well. And then I add one class that is called the form check label. Here one, form check label. What is the purpose for this one? Actually, this class labels the element, okay, and style check boxes properly inside the form. Okay, it actually checks the input. Okay, input, inside the input is actually margins. Okay, and give the label elements. Next thing, I use the checked keyword here one. I use checked keyword here one. So what is the purpose for this checked one? Checked actually attributes, if you want to the checkbox to be checked by default. By default, you say that some checkboxes by manually tick. Like if I show you in the browser, this one, this will appear like that. As this one, I have not selected this one. This option is automatically selected. Okay. So this is actually the check. So if I want to remove that one, so you need to remove the check one. This option will not selected now. Or I mean to say this option you have to select it yourself. By default, this option is not selected for you. I just remove it and I need to go in a browser and see what will be the result for this one. So I have defined now you see there is no option check. Okay, you need to check the options okay for your own choice. If I add that check by default, this option one is already checked. So if you remove the check, then you can make the check, you can select the options of your own choice. So this is how the check keyword works. And next thing, guys, we have the radio buttons. What are the radio buttons? Radio buttons we discussed in dash channel 5. Like these are the check boxes. I am just showing you. These are the check boxes. So instead of this round, this rectangle type, what is it called? Yeah, rectangle type, this shape, you need to add the radio buttons. Radio button means that this round circle are inside a dot. These are the radio buttons. Okay, you do not want this check, you want radio button. So what you need to do, you just need to add where you give type check here one. I'm just telling you, guys, here one. Where you use the type checkbox input type, you just need to rename with the radio button. So I am gonna move and I will doing this one. I am removing this checkbox. I am removing this checkbox and I am removing this check. And instead of this one, I need to add the radio keyword. So what will be the result now? I'm just moving to the browser and show you what will be the result this time now. Now, guys, if you see now, these are all are the radio buttons. This is not a checkbox now. So you just need to change the checkbox, check keyword with the radio keyword. So your option will be changed. Okay, your checkbox convert will be converted into radio button. So this is how you create the radio button. Same like you can also disable the let's say any radio options. Let me disable this second. Okay, as I said, value equals to. So let me here which option I need to disable. Yeah, here one. Here one I need to disable. So what I need to do, I just add and here one. I need to add here one disabled. Okay, I'm just using the keyword disabled here. So what will be the result then? Let me show you. Yeah, here one. So as you see, I'm selecting option 2, 1 and 2, but option 3 is not allowed because this option has been disabled. So that's why I am not selecting or this browser will not allow me to select option 3. So this is actually because you disabled this side. Next, guys, we have the toggle switches. Okay, if you want your checkbox to be styled as a toggle switch, what are the toggle switch by default answer? Toggle switches are like this one. I'm just drawing here. As you see this one here sign, when it moves it ons or it's off, like in your mobile phone devices, brightness, adaptive brightness, that type of button or dark mode. Okay, these type of the thing. So these are actually say to be toggle switches. So how we need to add that one? We need to go back in the browser, sorry, in the code editor, and where I define, let's say we have defined here the form with the form action. Yeah, here we define the form action and we did form check. So here in form check, we need to add the form switch as well. FORM form switch. Okay, we need to add the switch form switch. So once we add the form switch input type equals to, let's say I'm just removing this radio button. So what I'm saying input class equals to, sorry, so what I need to do, I just need to add input class is equals to form check. Okay, check, I use a label. So here instead of this, you use the form. In place of the check, you need to add form switch. Okay, sorry, I need to replace with the switch. Okay, so as yes, I need to replace with the switch. So one I did, I use the type equals to, I need to give the type as well. Uh, Input type, we did this one. Okay, let me, I think I did one thing wrong. No, that's okay. Div class equals to form check, and then I need to give the form switch as well. Then input class. Yeah, here one. Sorry, I need to remove this one. Input class equals to. Okay, I need to give input class equals to form check, and then I need to give the form check. I need to give the form. What is it called? Uh, form switch. So I need to give the form switch here. Once I did that, I move to the this one also declared inform check input type equals to checkbox. So input type equals to the checkbox. I think so. I am just doing one mistake. I did the div class. Okay, here is the div class. I assigned the form check and also the form switch. This is the declaration. Then I did input class equals to form check. Sorry, one thing I think I have mistake. So form check equals to, I need to give form check equals to dash input. Okay, we also need to give the input. So one we did, what we need to do, we need to give type. Sorry, yes, type. We need to give type equals to checkbox. Here we want checkbox. So when we define the checkbox, what we need to do then ID equals to my switch. Let's say I'm removing this all. Here I'm replacing ID equals to, let's say, my switch. Okay. This is, let's suppose you also give the switch as well. There is no worry at all. So I use this my switch. Then name equals to, I need to give, and name equals to, I need to give that, what is it called? Name equals to, let's say we are putting the dark. Okay, dark mode we are using. So dark, this is the name which I assigned it to dark mode. Now value equal, I need to give the value as well. So value equals to, let's say value I am giving value, yes. Okay, value we are using. Then we need to give here, I add the check. Okay, this keyword I use. Now once I define this one check, then we need to give label. Where is a label class? Yeah, here one. So label class equals to form check label form. Here I need to give the check form check. Okay, form check, and I need to give here label. Okay, form check label. Okay, I did the label. Then I need to give for my, yeah, for here I need to give the name of the switch which I have put, that is called the my switch. So I need to give the my switch name as well. Then I am giving you not option one because I have considered a name as a dark mode. So I am giving the dark mode. Okay, dark mode. Yeah, dark mode I assigned it. Let me give the space mode readable. Okay. So once I define this, then what I need to do, I'm just removing this rest of the all things here one. Yeah, these things I need to remove. So now I need to define the button type equals to submit, and button primary, rest of the things are same. So what I did in this toggle switch only, I just assigned a form check form switch because I need a form switch. So here what I assigned the form switch. Okay, then what I did, I just use a class for that one type. Okay, and I give the ID as well. Okay, so if I move to the browser to see my result, what the result will appear. So I need to go the browser and refresh. Yes, as you see, this is now checkbox. This is behaving like checkbox. As you see, it's on and off. It's on and off. So this is how your checkbox will work. This is actually not, this is not a checkbox. Sorry, this is a toggle switch. This is how your toggle switch is working. This is how you select on or off, you say the switches. So this is how you create the toggle switches in bootstrap file. Now we need to go next, that is what we call, we need to now discuss that we already discussed. Now we are discussing some floating labels, the form validation and ranges as well. So let me first move to the form validations. What are the bootstrap 5 form validation? I'm just moving to the form validations here. So how we need to add the validation? Now the question is, this code is quite tricky and quite long. So you do not need to worry at all. Okay, so I'm just removing this one. Okay, here I define the class, that's it. These things are fine. Now I just need to remove this one. Okay, because this div section, yeah, I need to remove, and now I label because we are working the form validation. So form value, this is our topic which we are discussing, that is called the form validations. So form validations, and now we are starting our proper code. First of all, here we need to select, we need to give the form, because actually we are not defining the form class, because form tag we often use when we submit the form, because this is what we are only stating how to create a bootstrap 5 form. So I'm not selecting the form tag. I'm just starting from main div section. So div, once I define the div, I need to give the class. Okay, class equals to, let's say I'm creating for any, and let's say three. Okay, but this is what is called margin to top. I am margin to top, I am giving say 3. So this is what I assign. Now I need to give the labels as well. So here I define, now I need to define the label tag. Okay, label, I need to define the label. Once I add the label label for what, I need to add a label for, okay, label for, let's say I am adding for the, let's say, username. Yes, I add the not username, just write in small uname. Okay, by default it's uname. Okay, uname. Then you need to give the class. Let's say class I am giving, that class equals to, let's say, form label. Okay, this is the form label, because we are labeling the form, so you must be very cautious. So form label I assigned. So once I assign a form label, I need to give what this label represents, or what this form represents. This is the field for the username. So I did the username field, and the label is closed. Now I need to give the input. Okay, here the label section is closed. I need to give now the, sorry, input. So input. Inside the input, I need to give the text, because this is a simple text username. Class equals to, here I need to give the class equals to, let's say class I am giving you form control. Form control. So once I define the form control, what I need to give, I need to assign the ID as well. ID equals to, let's say we have put the for label name as a uname, so I'm assigning the username as ID uname. So once I define, I need to give the placeholder, because placeholder helps the user, okay, to understand what they fill in the required field. So let's say I'm here placeholder, I'm writing enter your user. So I have defined enter your username. Now when you need to give the name as well, that is the uname. So once you define the username, so I'm just adding one simple sentence that is called the verifications required. What is the purpose of this required keyword? I will tell you later. So you do not need to worry at all. So this is what I did. Now I just need to add one more thing, that is called the div. I'm again defining the div. So inside this div, I need to give the class equals to valid feedback. Valid feedback is I am, yeah, this valid feedback I'm giving you, and here I am writing outside for the display, that is valid, the valid keyword. So once we define this one, we need to go one more class. Okay, we need to define here, that is called the div. Okay, div section we need to define, and div, let's say we are giving a class equals to invalid. Okay, here I define the keyword invalid feedback. Let's say that. So once I define the invalid feedback, I am here writing, please fill out this. Okay. Let's say what is the meaning for this one? Actually, let's say user is entering user. Let's say user is submitting the form without entering his or username. So that's why this error will come that you need to fill out this field. Okay, please fill out this field. Okay, so this will sorry. So this error will appear. Okay, so once you define the div section, okay, div section we define, then we need to give what is it called? We need to give the for the password as well. So once we define this one, uh, wait for a minute. I need to check one thing. Yeah, we are fine. Okay, so here we are defining the div. Now we are giving the class. Let's say class equals to same MD margin to borders or 3. Now we need to give the label as well. Same like the label we have assigned for the username, we need to give the label for the password as well. So label, let's say for label for equals to, let's say the password I'm just assigning PWD, and class I am assigning you, let's say class is called the form label. The class is always form label. So once I defined, I need to label here that is field is particular for the password only. The user must enter the password in it, okay, rather than others. So when I define this label, I need to close the label and I move to input field. So input type equals to add this. Be remember here one thing you need to add. Input, you always need to add the password. If you just write the text, then your password will be visible to the others. But if you want to make your password secret, okay, and you want to make a password in dotted form that no one understand what the password you enter, so you type password. Okay, so once you define the input type equals to password, you need to give the class. You need to give the class equals to, let's say, form password. Okay, form. So you need to give the form password. Okay, and you need to give the ID equals to, let's say, ID I am assigning it to, what is it, IDP, okay, as a password shortening. So I assigned, and we need to give the placeholder as well. So placeholder, let's say I'm entering that enter your password or enter password. So I have typed enter password. Then we need to give name. Name equals to same password which we define PWD. Okay, so once we define the name, so we need to add the one void attribute that without this field form will never submit. Okay, so this is once we define this one. Here required, we need to add one more thing that is called the if class. Class equals to, we are giving, let's say class equals to valid feedback. Okay, same for this one. Valid feedback we are giving. So valid feedback, and here we need to define the valid to be displayed. So the valid we define, then we need to close the div here. Okay. Yeah, sorry, this div is already closed here. So here we need to give, what is it called? That is called the div class. Sorry, div class equals to, we need to give the invalid. Okay. First, we define the class for the valid. Now we need to define the invalid feedback. So once we define the invalid feedback, we need to display, please fill out this field. Okay. So once we define this field, we need to give that one. Okay. Now, once you define these things all, what you need to gonna do, and you need to make for, what is it called? Remember, for remember that once the user logged into your page, he or she must remember, or your browser will save the passwords. So how you create for that one? So you need to give the div, then you need to give the same like class equals to, let's say you are giving a form check. You need the form check and 1, 2, 3. Okay, you have defined this one. Then what you need to do, you need to do that it's, what is it called, input type. Okay, sorry, that is input type. You are assigning this one input type. So what the type you need to put, input type let's say we have already defined. Okay, we will discuss that thing later. This is not. So once we had defined that form check MB and input class, sorry, input not type, I will need to first add the count. Input, here one, yeah, input class. So input class equals to what? I am just adding input class equals to form check, sorry, form check. So once I add the form check label, okay, I add this class and here I am writing for, it's only for for equals to, for equals to, let's say I am writing that, what is it called? For equals to, let's say my check. This is our name assignment. So form check and we are doing something wrong. Import, we discuss the form check. Sorry, here inside the label, we need to define the import because this is the input field. So when we did this one, that form check input, we need to, sorry, what is it called? So yeah, here we need to give the type, that is type. Let's say this is a checkbox type. So here I am giving the checkbox. So once I define the checkbox type, you need to give the ID as well. Okay, ID equals to, let's say I'm giving the ID equals to, let's say this ID is my check. Okay. So this is ID I have assigned. Now you need to give that, what is it called, name. So name equals to name. Let's suppose I am assigning that name equals to remember you. I'm just telling the browser to remember this password. Okay. Okay, so I have defined this remember. Now I am just assigning the required. Okay, so here we created this one. Now we need to, one thing more we need to add, that is called the label class. Label. Label we are using, so inside label what we need to do, we need to define the class. Okay, label class equals to form. We are giving the check, and one thing more we need to add, that's called the label, because this class is for the label. And one thing we add, that is called the for. Yeah, for equals to what I need to give, for my check, the name which I have assigned for my check. And one thing I agree on, let's say whatsoever I write. Yeah, I agree on this site. So this is what I have defined in the label section. So once you define this one, you need to close the label here. And one thing you more add, that, what is it called, label, you agree on it. Then you need to define the div class again. And div inside the class, you need to define, what is it called, div class equals to valid feedback. So here you need to give the valid feedback class, and here you give valid keyword. So once you define the valid keyword and you define the div section here, so you need to define one more class, that was called for the invalid as well. So div, once you define the div class equals to, let's say you are giving the invalid feedback. So once you define the invalid feedback, you need to give that check this box not invalid. So check this box to move or carry on, to move or spread or keyword. Okay, so once you define this div section, then you need to define the button as well. So how you define the button? Sorry, this div section has been closed. We need to define the button. So how you define button type equals to submit. Okay, we are defining submit and we are giving that oh, sorry, where is we are. So input type equals to button. So once we define, we need to give the class, that class equals to what? Let's say, but we are giving the button as well as button color, button and button time is, let's say we are giving the color. Okay, so we are giving the button and here we are adding the submit. Okay, so submit and button is closed here and the div is, I think so we missed some div sections here. But for now, we are not doing, let me, I think we have missed some one div here, but let me here, we need to define the last word that is called div. What div section will be missing here someone. So I need to define here now, I have created this checkbox. Let's see what the result will appear. Yes. As you can see, this form is created, but this is actually as a result, we missed some div sections. So let me check where I misplaced the div section. Let's say I need to give the div section here one. This div where I closed. Oh, sorry. Here I closed this div one. So I need to remove from here and I need to add it here. So once I add this one, now see will something will be okay or not. Yes, as this field actually this field also missing some div sections, so that's why this is appearing like this one. So now what we need to do now, I'm just telling you the first part that is called a very important part that is called the required attribute. Let's say I'm entering the password. Yeah, I have entered the password and I said I agree on this side. Let me I'm just submitting. I'm just submitting, but this is not working. Why? This is not working because I have required that the without username that user cannot submit his form. Let's say I'm just entering the username on. Username I am entering is also not working. Let's enter the password whether it work or not. Yes, it is not working. What's the reason? Let me check. I think have we assigned any? Yeah. One thing we are missing that what we need to do, we didn't add the form tag. Sorry. Form tag actually the form tag required because it actually checks whether the user have entered his both fields or it has entered a single field. So we need to define here where we started this one. Let's say we have started here one. So here, sorry, before the div, yeah, here one. So before here we need to define the form tag that is form equals to I forgot. So form and we need to give that action equals to let's say action equals to action. We are just giving you that. Let's suppose action. I'm giving you action dot php. As this while is not present, action goes wrong. Okay, and here I need to give that is class equals to let's say was validated. Okay, was validated is the class. To see the result for this one was validated. So this validated class I have used, and where you close this form, we remember. Yeah, you need to close this class, sorry, this form section before this div. Yeah, here one. Before this. Yeah, here when you close this one, now you see. I'm just moving to the browser and tell you will it work. Yeah, as you see. What it says now, it actually says that this one without let's say I'm just entering the password and wants to submit. It is said that this is valid. Let me submit. What it says, please fill out this field. It means that it is not allow me to go. Okay, it doesn't allow me to submit my form. Okay, let me I am entering the let's say password. Now it is a valid. You have entered the password as well as username. Now I agree on this check was yes, I agree on this side submit. As it said that the requested URL because I have not assigned the proper thing that there is data goes. Let me I'm just entering the username instead of password. I'm just entering the username. I am just want to submit. What it says, please fill out this field. What why this is happening? Which word I use that this is happening? This is actually the result for this one. This is actually the result for let me select the pencil. Yeah. This is actually the result for this required keyword. When I use this required keyword, that's why it doesn't allow me to submit. I need to enter the username plus password in order to submit the form. Without only username I am using, it also gives me that please fill out this field. And if I only enter the password, username is not entered, then it's also showing me the error. So this is how you created the Bootstrap 5 forms. I'm just explaining this one by one, what I did in this one. Things are very easy as all code I have written. Okay, so it's very easy. I just need to explain a little bit for you. What I did first, you need to give the action. Action means that class value was validated. This actually class checks whether the user have entered the username plus password or just enter the password or just enter the username. So if both are, if a user enter both things, then it means that both things are valid. And when user submits the button, the data goes to the database. But let's say user just only enter the password. So this actually class checks validation. That's why this class is said to be was validated. Then we did that as forms validations heading. Then we did input. Yes, this is very important. We have created the username label. This one. If I shows you this username I have created, let me check this one. This username is label 4 and this box is created as the result of the input type. Input type equals to that one. This is a result for that one. And this valid which you see below, what is the valid for this one? This is a valid and invalid from the field. uh, I'm just explaining this one. Here we did a form field. This is actually for the username has been created. This type equals to text form control. This is a box has been created and required is as a result without you are seeing a little box when you are not taking the username that please fill out this field. So here valid is a result for this one that class equals to valid feedback. It means that you have to enter your valid username. Okay, if you had entered your wrong username, it doesn't show you. Okay, it says that your username is invalid. And here we defined invalid. Let's say user is not giving any entry in the username, so display this message, please fill out this field or this field is required. Let me, I'm showing you how. As you see here one, when I'm not entering the username and just I want to enter the password. So password is only valid. So I agree. Let me submit what it says. Please fill out this field. This is as a result for this one. Okay. This is a result for that invalid class. Okay. The invalid class we use this is a result for that one. This one. Invalid feedback. This shows. Then secondly, I have created the label for the password and I have created a field for the password and then I have entered both valid feedback. If the user enters the valid password, then submit the form. And if the user enters the wrong password and the password doesn't, password field was empty, then show me that invalid feedback. Please fill out this form. Then in last what I have created, I just check, I use a checkbox that when the user enter the username plus password, now it's our time to checkbox that you agree. Let's say the license has been, every website has a license. So you are agree to using this website. Let's say in mobile phone, you often see when you are installing something, when you are starting that application, you see a testimonials or a lot of licenses will appear that you are agree to this term that your data will never be stored in our database. So whatsoever these are actually the license. So we have just created a demo that checkbox that you are agree to using this site. So I have created this checkbox. I remember this one. Then I have created the valid and invalid feedback for this checkbox as well. Let's say I am just showing you this how it's working. Let's say I have entered the username and I enter the password, but I not check this one. Let me submit what it shows. Please fill out, please check this box if you want to proceed. Okay, it means without checking this one, three things are required. Username, you need to enter the password for that one, and you need to check this one. When you enter this one, then you press the submit button and it goes to the next thing. So this is how your checkbox is working. Then in last, I have created the button, which is the button primary. You here you give the warning, info, dark, scan, primary, whatever color you want. So this is how you guys, today's tutorial, we discussed that how you create a Bootstrap 5 forms. And we also discussed that how you create a radio buttons, checkboxes, a lot of things. Very easy. Bootstrap 5, this is only the code for the, you say, for your form. This is the code. Bootstrap totally depends on the classes. Guys, if you are familiar with the Bootstrap, it's my opinion that you use the Bootstrap instead of using the HTML forms because HTML for one thing. HTML forms are structured. Okay, you need to add the CSS to give styling to that form. But when you are using the Bootstrap forms, let's see everything is margin, everything is okay. Let's you see this side boxes are clear. This button is present. Okay, as you see, buttons are auto aligned. Okay, they already have the margin, they already have the space, so you do not need to add the CSS in it. That's why we are saying that Bootstrap is an alternative of CSS. This is what the reason behind this one. Because Bootstrap have built-in classes and Bootstrap have built-in functions, and also style sheet are also available. You just need to add the CDN and use the Bootstrap classes and gets amazing result. Instead of using the HTML forms, which is too simple, and you need to add the styling, you need to style the buttons as well. So it's take a long code and your a lot of time will be wasted. So, as a personal opinion, I suggest you that use a Bootstrap. Just try to remember the few classes because being human, that our memory is too you say less that we are unable to learn all the classes of the bootstrap. So we just have to keep in mind the basic classes like button class, like header class, map class, list class. So you just have to remember. So once you remember these type of classes, I do not think so that anything will be difficult for you. So that's guy all related to the Bootstrap 5 form. So guys, Bootstrap 5 form is very to you. Please practice and please practice at home. And if you have any questions, please freely ask in the comments box. See, guys, meet you in the next video. In next video, inshallah, we will cover up the bootstrap grids. Okay, bootstrap grids are very important. So you never miss that video. Meet you in the next video, guys. Take care.